The Street Files. A complete mystery short story every Wednesday. File 9. 2 Deaths from Long Ago. It's been raining since Olivia and Poppy's train left Paddington, and now, as it nears the buffers at Windsor and Eton Riverside Station, there's a downpour and they run from the carriage to get under cover. This lunch with Stephen and Kate Quinton and their son Owen has been planned half a dozen times, then moved, as the Quintons are both surgeons, and patient emergencies mean that their social life comes second. The family had lived 2 doors away from Olivia in the same block of apartments near Tower Bridge, where she still lives, but they moved out to Berkshire 3 years ago to get a bigger place. Owen and Poppy have known each other since they were 13, and she often describes him as the brother she never had. The women didn't bring umbrellas with them, and run out of the station, then towards the vast grey bulk of the castle. They turn onto the cobbles of Market Street, and hurry along until they reach a restaurant called Plate at Number 6 that Stephen had booked for the reunion. The others haven't arrived and they're shown to a table, but it's only a minute before the tall frame of Stephen Quinton and his equally gangly son come in from the road. Olivia and Poppy stand up and they kiss their cheeks. The 2 men both have the same kind brown eyes and the same dark brown hair, but the father's has grey flecks in it now. "Kate's delayed, but she's on her way," says her husband, and they all sit down. "She's got a contract with private hospital these days, and there was an emergency this morning. It's hard work, but it pays well." A waitress comes to take their order, and the 4 of them catch up with what's been going on in their lives. The time drifts on, and food arrives and they finish it, but Kate doesn't appear. Stephen's phone sounds a notification in his pocket. He looks at the screen. "Oh my God," he says. "What is it, Dad?" "Mum's in trouble, but she doesn't say what's happened. The police are on their way. I'd better go." He raises his hand for the bill. "Olivia, with the police involved, will you come and advise? She'll need some legal support." "Of course," says Olivia. Despite the rain still falling, they walk the 5-minute journey to the High Moor Hospital on a road called Sheet Street. The building is large and modern, and faces the enormous dark gates of the barracks to the Coldstream Guards. They walk inside and Kate is there on a chair in reception. "What's happened, darling?" says her husband. "Let's go somewhere more private," she says. "Olivia, Poppy, hello. Sorry to spoil the lunch." "Stephen thought I could help if the police have been called." "Thank you, Olivia." She swipes her security badge through the reader, and the opaque glazed doors slide open to reveal a long corridor behind. She turns to her son. "Owen, you know where the canteen is. Would you and Poppy mind if you went and got some coffees while we talk?" The teenagers are disappointed to be excluded, but walk away without complaint. Kate leads Olivia and Stephen down corridors and around corners until they reach a door which has a sign on it that says Dr. Kate Quinton. But they go in to the room next door. Kate pulls out 3 chairs for them all and they sit. "What's happened?" says Stephen. "After the call this morning to do the appendectomy, I drove in, did the op and the patient went off to recovery. All seemed fine, but I was walking back to my office, and the nurse in recovery called to say the patient had gone into heart failure. I ran back and we tried to bring them round, but sadly we were unsuccessful, and I called the death after 15 minutes. "I know it's tragic, but deaths occur in surgery, surely," says Olivia. "Why call the police?" "That's not why I called them," says Kate. "I walked back to my office, which is next door to us here. I walked in, and there was a man on the floor. I attended to him, and he had no pulse, so I did CPR and called the crash team, who came running along and we attempted to recover him again, like the woman in surgery. We couldn't get his heart working either. And where's the body now? Says Olivia. We have a mortuary at the back of the hospital. We put him in the freezers. Did you lock your office? I did, and I have the keys here, says Kate. But there was something else. Olivia looks at her. There was a death certificate on the body. She pushes her hand into the pocket of her white coat and hands Olivia a folded piece of white paper. It's for a Ronald Dawson, says Olivia, reading the words. Do you know him? That was my father's name. Is your father deceased? I don't know. We're estranged. Kate looks serious. I left home at 18. I didn't get on with either of my parents. I never knew, says Olivia. I don't talk about it. Is the dead man your father? I wouldn't know. Surely you'd recognise your father, says Olivia. I've spent 30 years trying to forget his face, so no, I wouldn't. Olivia can see anger in the woman's eyes. I know this is painful, but they'll need to confirm the identity of the dead man, as I'm sure you know, says Olivia. They'll ask you to confirm or deny that he's your father. You also can't keep that death certificate from the police. It's material evidence. You should prepare yourself for all of that, which I know won't be pleasant. There's a knock on the door of the room. A man wearing a dark grey suit in his 50s, with well-cut blonde hair and blue eyes, walks in. They only just told me, Kate, he says, and looks at Stephen and Olivia. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you're occupied. This is my husband and a very good friend of mine, says Kate. Stephen, Olivia, this is Robert Thornton, our CEO. They all shake hands. The nursing staff were telling me that you moved a body into your office, he says. We have a cadaver management process, Kate, you know that. The process doesn't involve storage in management or admin spaces. I didn't put the body there, Robert. I found it there. When was that? An hour ago, when I came out of surgery. Let me look, he says. Is this door locked too? He's in the morgue. We tried to resuscitate. We can tell the police when they arrive, says Olivia. But the office next door is a crime scene now. Robert turns his head. Are you a pathologist? A lawyer, but I've seen a fair number of murders. He looks at Kate. I'm thinking that we might be able to do this as part of the normal processes. We must have, 10 to 12 deaths a year during surgery. This man obviously is sadly one of those statistics. That's falsification of a death certificate, Mr. Thornton, says Olivia. I'd have to report that, I'm afraid. She looks at her friends. I'd lose my license to operate if I was party to a crime. We understand, Olivia, says Stephen. Kate's phone rings, and it's reception telling her that the police are here. I can go and meet them if you want, says Olivia. Would you? The large opaque glass doors slide apart as Olivia approaches reception, and a woman with piercing green eyes and neat brunette hair is waiting. They shake hands. Chief Inspector Holland, she says. Thames Valley Police. Olivia Street, investigating lawyer. I've heard your name before from colleagues in the Met. All good, I hope, says Olivia. But Holland doesn't answer. She leads the policewoman along to Kate's office, and on the way explains what Kate just related about the body on the floor. Did the doctor feel that she needed legal representation, Miss Street? Says Holland. Is that why she called you? I'm a family friend. We were having lunch. When Holland arrives at the office, Thornton has gone. She asks Kate about the events of the last few hours, but there's nothing new that Olivia hadn't asked already. Where's the body? Says Holland. In the mortuary, says Kate. You moved it? We tried to resuscitate, Inspector. We destroyed the crime scene anyway. Kate's eyes burn. Doctor, you should be well aware what is and is not permissible when a body is discovered. I've never involved myself with crime, Inspector, says Kate. I just take out kidneys and reduce colons. We tried to save his life. It's what I do. I'll get forensics and pathology out here, says Holland. She puts her phone to her ear and walks out to the corridor. They can hear her becoming more annoyed the more the call goes on, and after 2 minutes she walks back inside. They're snowed under, unfortunately. It'll be 2 hours, and the same goes for detectives. They're all tied up till later. Maybe I can help in the meantime, says Olivia. We're both interested in finding out what's happened. Holland narrows her eyes slightly, and it looks like she's going to reject the idea. Inspector, says Stephen, my wife needs to rest. All of this has taken it out of her. There are bedrooms here in the hospital if relatives need to stay overnight. We'll go to one of those if that's okay. Holland nods and gets directions to the bedrooms so that she can interview Kate later. She also gets directions to the mortuary. The Quintons walk out, and Holland turns to Olivia. Let's look at the body first, shall we? They find the mortuary, and the mortuary services manager pulls out one of the large drawers, in a wall of large drawers, to show them the body. The chief inspector surveys the dead man, then turns her green eyes to Olivia. Tell me about him, she says, matter-of-factly. Olivia looks at the corpse. A man in his 60s, wearing a surgical gown. She flicks her eyes across to his face. There's something odd about his hair. Maybe he's had hair implants to cover baldness? She looks more closely, over his skin. No, more than that, plastic surgery, here and here, to change the shape of his nose and his eyebrows. She points to the man's face. That's expensive. She looks up at the chief inspector, who nods but doesn't speak. So Olivia continues. There's a puncture wound in his neck. Tiny. Probably a needle. His fingers have hard skin and abrasions. So likely a manual worker of some sort. He has cuts on his knuckles, which could come from a fight. They're recent. One hand is in a fist, and there's something in it. Do you have gloves, Inspector? The policewoman takes a photograph of the fist with her phone, then pulls out plastic gloves. Olivia puts them on and peels back the fingers of the man's right hand. It's a train ticket, she says. Dated yesterday. From Paddington to Windsor. So, summarises Holland, a working man who's changed how he looks. Takes a train from London last night. Comes here and someone kills him. They put him in a surgical gown and leave him in an office to be found. That's what the evidence shows, yes, says Olivia. No pockets to hold ID, says Holland. That's convenient. What about the surgery gown? That implies this is a surgical death, in which case they wouldn't have called the police, but just completed a death certificate in the usual way. There's one more thing, says Olivia. The body had this fake death certificate attached to it. Olivia hands the certificate across. The doctor gave this to you, did she? Olivia nods. How do you know it's fake? Says Holland. I've seen dozens of them. They all use the same layout and include the same information. This is a good copy, but it's not real. Your forensics team will confirm that. We'll do a check on the name, too. It's the name of her father. Just before Holland speaks, Olivia guesses what she'll say. No, she didn't recognise him. But the plastic surgery? Holland holds out her hand to the dead man's face and locks her gaze with Olivia. Let me talk to her first, Inspector, before you take her statement. She may be more forthcoming with me. How's your mum been? Says Poppy, in the hospital canteen. She looked deadbeat just now. She was always well dressed in London, when you lived near us. The place is empty, apart from the two of them. She's been grouchy lately, says Owen. Working long hours, so is Dad. I thought we came out of London to have a quiet life. Maybe they don't like it here, she says, and picks up their coffees from the counter. They settle onto benches at a table for four, next to the window. Didn't you want to be a surgeon like your parents? Too much like hard work. I picked up the cool stuff anyway from them, he says. Like how to cut up people, and fatal injections and stuff. That's enough for me. I want to be a DJ in Ibiza anyway, and not angry all the time like they are. Poppy looks out of the window as the rain has stopped, and she's tempted to go outside. Then, she sees someone that she knows. Who's that guy your dad's talking to over there, by the front gates? Owen looks where she is looking. I don't know. They're angry with each other, says Poppy, as she watches the men's body movements, but trying not to be seen to be angry. What are you talking about? My mum taught me all about body language. You can tell everything from what people are thinking by how they stand. He is obviously not interested. I'm going out there, she says, and walks off. There's a door from the canteen straight out into the gardens. Poppy hurries across the grass, then along the fence line and shrubbery that borders onto the road. The men are 20 feet away when she stops, leaving enough foliage between her and them to hide her from view. I did what you said, says Stephen. We just need to keep quiet now, says the man she doesn't know. I need the money from you. That was the deal. All in good time. That amount of cash will take a couple of weeks. I need it now. Stephen is getting angrier than he was when she was watching them through the window. Nothing I can do. I'll report you. Stephen's voice is building. The other man laughs. No, you won't. This was all your idea. The police are here on site. It would be easy to have a quiet word with them. Then your beautiful career would be over. Poppy can hear one of the men walk away, but she doesn't know which one. After a minute, she dares to step out from behind the cover of the shrubbery, and she can see Stephen Quinton walking back inside the hospital. She runs back to the canteen. Owen has gone, and she gets out her phone to call her mother, who is on her way to see Kate. Olivia diverts to the canteen to talk to her daughter. Mum, something weird? Owen's dad is mixed up in something dodgy, says Poppy. I heard him talking to some guy, shouting about cash and payments and how he's done something. The guy threatened to go to the police if Owen's dad didn't keep quiet. They didn't say what it was? No, but they were angry, both of them. Owen's dad was really angry. I'll go and talk to him, says Olivia. See if he'll tell me more. I'm sorry that you have to hang around here. I'm fine, Mum. I've got my book. I'll stay here. Olivia walks off and Poppy finds a corner seat to continue reading Middlemarch. After 5 minutes, a blonde woman comes in and buys tea. She looks as though she hasn't slept well, and when she turns and scours the room to decide where to sit, their gazes meet, and Poppy smiles. The woman hesitates, then walks over. Can I sit here? Sure. I was just waiting for my mum. My mother died earlier today. In surgery. Oh, I'm sorry, says Poppy. It was an emergency. Poppy waits as the woman wants to talk. I didn't know her really. I was fostered out as a kid. They couldn't cope. He was a drunk, she was loyal. But you got back in touch sometime, did you? Says Poppy. So you knew she was coming in for an operation today? I got a call out of the blue.
from an unknown number, telling me she'd be here. She didn't look the same, though. It must be 25 years since I've seen her. I had to go and identify her in the fridges. Creepy. The doctor said that people do look different after they've died. You don't forget your mother's face, though, do you? Exactly. The more I think about it, the more I'm certain that it wasn't her in that fridge. They wouldn't let me stay for long. Bundled me out. My mother was fine. It was a minor operation. I started saying that, and they shut me up. I think they killed her.
Olivia goes to the side corridor of the hospital, where the bedrooms are, and Kate is on her phone talking quietly when she sees Olivia, and she quickly ends the call.
Let's get some fresh air,
she says. They walk out of the main entrance and out to the road. After 2 corners they're on Brook Street, which leads onto the Long Walk, a dead straight 2-mile path, running south from Windsor Castle's gatehouse. The wind has risen, and clouds scud above their heads as they walk. I wanted to ask you some questions, Kate, begins Olivia, before you speak to the police formally and give your statement. The other woman nods. Tell me about your father.
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know anything about him.
Why didn't you get on?
He was a gambler and an alcoholic, Olivia. His 2 great loves, the horses and the bottle. I didn't come on the list of things that he cared about.
What does he do for a living?
Nothing, anything,
she says.
Anything someone would pay him for.
Did he treat your mother badly? Says Olivia.
They had some sort of bond. She stood by him. She was his life, I think. No one else had ever done that for him.
You're sounding sympathetic suddenly.
You asked me the question, but I had to leave as soon as I could, for my own survival.
Do you think he was involved with crime? Says Olivia. Kate is quiet suddenly. Is that a yes? She pulls her eyebrows together.
He killed a man when I was 15,
she says. So your mother brought you up on her own after that?
I was the only witness. I didn't report him.
Kate is getting emotional.
He got away with it. I didn't want to go to a children's home, did I?
Olivia thinks through the list of questions that she needs to ask. The death certificate on the body is fake, she says. But I think you know that. You know what a real one looks like. It was there to send some sort of message, don't you think? A message that your father's dead? Kate shrugs.
I really don't care.
You need to care. Olivia stops them walking and looks straight at Kate. There was a body in your office, and the chief inspector is going to keep asking questions until she finds out how he got there and how that dead man is connected to you. I think you know more than you're telling me. I think you know who he is. Kate's eyes are watery. Olivia can see that she's moving towards a big reveal.
He was my father.
Thank you. Why did you say that you didn't know him?
I haven't seen him for over 3 decades. The pain he and my mother brought into my life nearly destroyed me. But I didn't kill him. I wanted to back then. I wanted to take his life and hers. But I didn't, because that would have been dragging me down into their gutter. And I wanted to have a life that was not in their shadow.
Olivia looks at her friend. Did anyone know that he killed this man? Apart from you?
No, no one.
Not your mother?
Oh, yes. She knew. They knew everything about each other.
In his office, Robert Thornton holds up a whiskey glass and looks at the chief inspector with a quizzical look on his face. Drink? She shakes her head. I will if that's okay. He pours at least a double Glenmorangie and sits in his large black leather swivel chair.
How do you deal with the dead if they die in surgery, sir? She says. We have a fully documented and approved process that I can show you. All up to date. Do you know the man? Left in Dr. Quinton's office, sir? No. He's curt. Was he dressed in one of your hospital's surgical gowns? Yes. Do you have CCTV on the premises? No. Why not? There's no need. Some of the people are sensitive about being here. We have some cosmetic surgery services, and many of those patients are keen to keep their procedures confidential. That's the whole point of it, really. CCTV would make them less likely to choose us for their new face. Holland is not going to be put off by this sort of amateurish parrying. The incident could close your hospital, sir, I'm sure you realise, she says. Perhaps I can ask you to be more open in your responses? She smiles at him. How do you explain the body? Dr. Quinton is a valued member of staff here, Inspector. I can't think how she could have got involved with something that looks so damaging for her. Any convictions would be entirely her responsibility. The Highmore Hospital partners on the board have been clear that responsibility for errors lies with individual surgeons. Olivia and Kate approach the grand doors of the hospital again. They push through security and walk towards the bedrooms. I suggest you tell the police about your father killing a man back then, she says. It will likely come out eventually if they keep asking, so you're better off telling them straight away. Kate nods sheepishly. The women approach the part of the hospital where the bedrooms are lined up along one wall, and Stephen is standing and looking out at the sky. I'm going to talk to Stephen. Some prep before he sees the police, says Olivia. He doesn't know anything, says Kate. He doesn't work here. He does mornings in the NHS and freelances in the afternoons, in a private hospital near Richmond. I just want to check. The police will take his statement too, to corroborate the time you left home, for instance. Don't tell him the dead man is my father yet, please, she says. I want to tell him. All right, but you have to inform the police about that in your statement. Kate goes into one of the bedrooms and closes the door. Stephen is already angry, Olivia can see. Some people just go so focused on themselves, aren't they? He says, without turning his eyes from the sky. We all are to some degree, she says. Stephen, I was just speaking to Kate. She was telling me about her father. Did you know he killed a man 30 years ago? He is silent. You knew, didn't you? You didn't react just now. How long have you known? Only recently. What prompted Kate to tell you after so long? You two have been together for what, 22 years? You'll have to ask her, he says. I'm asking you. He seems nervous for a reason that she can't fathom. Stephen, there's no point being frosty. Treat my questions as a rehearsal for when the chief inspector talks to you. You'll need answers. You won't be able to bat questions away. People who don't answer look guilty, even if they're entirely innocent. He remains serious. What are you angry about? If something's been going on, you can tell me. We can build a defense for you if that's needed. Do you have information that could be material to the death of the man in Kate's office? I've been moonlighting, he says. Doing what exactly? Surgery. I don't understand. You can work for as many hospitals as you like, as long as you can fit the hours in, can't you? Why did you just call it moonlighting? It's illegal. Go on, she says. This conversation is confidential. I'm a doctor for criminals, he says. If they've been shot or injured in the course of their work. And they pay you? Handsomely. Is the body in the office connected to your moonlighting? I don't think so. He looks like he's lying, she thinks.
Have you tried to stop and they've threatened you? Maybe this corpse is a warning to you? He shakes his head. Do you know the dead man, Stephen? She says. Be honest with me. No. Did you kill him? He looks disgusted.
No, of course not. I save lives, not take them.
I encourage you to tell the police everything you've told me, she says.
I'd lose my medical license.
A second later, Poppy appears in the corridor.
Mum, can we chat?
The mother and daughter go around the corner.
I met the daughter of a woman who died this morning in the operating theatre, says Poppy. She reckons that he killed her mother.
What was the operation?
To take out her appendix.
Did she say who the surgeon was?
No, but there's a board up as you come into the hospital saying which doctors are on shift. There's only one name on that board today.
Olivia looks at her.
Dr. Kate Quinton.
Olivia stops for a moment. I know who killed the man, Poppy, she says. Would you go and find the inspector? 10 minutes later, Kate, Stephen, Robert Thornton, Inspector Holland, Olivia and Poppy are standing in the bedroom. Years ago, begins Olivia, a man was killed and the witnesses, who were members of the killer's family, didn't report the crime. He got away with it. Until today. The daughter in the family, who was a child at the time, left home at 18. She moved on with her life and forgot the sordid childhood details that had haunted her in her teenage years. She looks at the faces, each of them wondering what she's going to say. She strived to get a medical education and met a man in the same field as her. They got married and lived for years quite happily, but she never forgot the trauma of her early years. Then one day she was called in on an emergency operation on a woman. She knew the woman immediately that she walked into the theatre, even though the patient was already under sedation. She operated, leaving a fatal incision inside the woman, who died. In shock, the doctor walked out to see another member of the patient's family, sitting and waiting. The surgeon recognized this person too. A man this time. She invited him to have a conversation about the surgery and took him to her office, where she injected him to induce cardiac arrest. I'm right, aren't I, Kate? She says. They were your mother and your father. You hated them both for nearly destroying your life. And when you got the opportunity to have closure on your pain, you took it. Kate's watery eyes look across at her husband. And Olivia says, She is your killer, Chief Inspector. The Street Files, a complete mystery short story, every Wednesday.